Welcome back to Big Content Q&A edition. Pulled from the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, please go join.
Big Kahuna.
The Big Kahuna. Everything that starts with a C. The big everything. Big Caleb. Big Caleb starts off the Q&A with a question: when is the right time to upgrade from free tools like Canva, iMovie, CapCut to paid tools like Adobe? And does it really improve the overall product you are creating as a creator? Does it improve the product? Yes, if you're willing to put the time in to learn it, of course. You know, like anything that you're doing, if you have an upgraded set of tools or whatever, if you become better at it, it's going to work better for you. That being said, I think you can do a lot of really good stuff with basic or free tools. And in my opinion, the right time to upgrade is
1 year.
I wouldn't put a time limit on it, but it's just like the right time. Like when is the right time is the right time. Like when you're asking yourself like, I need this thing, I need my content to get better, or I need this tool that's only available in the premium version. Or I think a lot of people like put these types of things on a pedestal where like, I need to do it at this time limit or like XYZ. And it's just when life forces you to move up to the next stage, you take those jumps.
I always have an additional answer, which is right away, because you're not this person. I am. I think make the investment, force yourself, and then it holds you to it. For example, get a personal trainer. It's like, when's the right time to really, invest in a personal trainer? If you're asking the question, it's probably now. Like, of course, you could watch YouTube videos and go to the gym and replicate those, or make that investment. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to go to the gym and you're going to get a better workout.
That's fair. Because when you make the investment, most of the time, especially when it's like self-improvement or something like that, you think back on it and you say, the only thing I would do differently is invest earlier.
Right.
So that,
like, I'm doing a 6-week stretch program. Do you know how long I've been telling myself I'm going to stretch for? It's on my calendar every day, 3 o'clock. I've done it 2 times.
Yeah. I would say if you're having trouble pushing yourself, or if you're not happy with the product that you're making, that's obviously a sign or a signal that you might need something that's a little more powerful with more capability. If it's down that avenue where you're just like, I can't do it myself, or I feel like I need to push myself a little bit further, then yeah, that also makes sense. If you have the money, then sure, go for it. But I think you also just need to be...
That's funny. I actually wouldn't suggest that if you have the money. I would extend the timeline if you had the money. Because if you have the money, then you start just doing shit and expecting stuff to happen. And I would actually advise against when you have the money. Like, I think it's an inverse on the graph.
So get a personal trainer when you can't pay for it?
Like, yes, get a personal, not if you can't pay for it. If
they're
that's
gonna beat you up.
If it's like, all right, I could get a personal trainer 2 times a week for the year, or I could go on this vacation, boom, personal trainer. If you have $1 billion and it's like, oh, I could get the personal trainer, but you might start missing sessions. I think it's like, put the pressure on yourself and see if you really want to do it. Like, that's the thing. If I don't have all the finest tools and resources, do I want to do this? Do I want to go through the grind? And if you have a lot of money and it's like, oh, I can just get the nicest camera, I can get the nicest software, I can get whatever it may be, that's when you don't do it. You just do it from scratch and see if you actually want to be doing it.
Yeah, and I will say from personal experience, you named a bunch of tools that I've used all of them. Canva, iMovie, CapCut. Most of those I still use to this day. I use Photoshop religiously now instead of Canva. And the reason I started using it was because I got to a point where like, oh, I needed this feature or this tool that is not available on Canva, so I'm going to upgrade to Photoshop in order to get that and then learn how to use it. I still use iMovie and CapCut to this day to make sure that my editing gets done. The guys in the office who need to have a higher quality product than me, because they're editing most of our stuff, they do use Premiere Pro. So it's a give and take. Like if your value is based on the fact that you're putting out a great product and the editing is up to par, then maybe that's the upgrade that you need to make. But I think you can go far with all the basic limited programs.
Agreed.
Dylan,
Our guy Dill.
I think Dill's going to be here on Saturday.
Yeah?
I think he's going to be at the event, though. Yeah.
All right, big Dill.
Do you have a specific mold you follow when it comes to editing videos? I know Mr. Beast says he wants either a change in camera angle or something else on screen every 30 seconds. You have a certain time frame of graphics, screen changes, etc. that you use. We're probably not the best.
This was from last episode. Good plug. Go watch last episode. We talked a lot of fun topics. This is when I said I was going to say fuck Mr. Beast. This was for this.
Okay. I don't know that I'm the right person to ask for this because so much of the editing duty gets pushed off to the other guys in the office. At this point, I definitely, when I'm editing my own stuff, for sure do not have any sort of like template or rule that I stick by. I think all of the like flashy need to zoom in every 5 seconds. I'm not just saying I hate that because I think it's stupid. Like I've literally just made a career off of not ever doing that. So you don't need to do that to make quality content. I've also found myself like, if I'm on TikTok, and this has kind of been the case for the last like probably 6 to 12 months at this point, if a video starts and the person's like yelling at me, it's an auto swipe up. Like the attention, that does not work for me.
You haven't watched Casey's content in about 6
Anyone
months.
in our office, basically, I can't watch the content because when the yelling starts, I'm out. And when someone starts a video and it's like calm and it's like a normal conversation, I'm like, okay, I will listen to you because you are not a brain rot type of person.
We've adjusted our interest of videos and because you still need, it's this perfect balance, and I've learned this over my life of like, what is good energy and what is yelling?
What is loud, right?
Yes.
Loud adds zero quality.
Good energy, yes.
Agreed.
To be fair to Casey, that's just what he sounds like.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, which makes it tough.
Yes.
It makes it tough.
Agreed.
Fuck Mr. Beast. The beastification of YouTube is dead, and he even knows that. Of course, you can optimize angle cuts, flashy, loud noises, exciting, keep attention span, etc. But more now than ever, long-form content is winning, and slow-paced and limited editing. People are listening to podcasts. You do not need flashing or camera angles changing. The mold is, can you keep people's interest? It's not attention.
Their interest, attention. I think putting as much context behind what you're talking about helps as well. People, like, especially coming from the fantasy space, if I'm sitting there and I'm just on an angle like this, and I'm talking about why Rachaad White is such a great pick this year, and I'm spewing out a bunch of stats and numbers, way easier to digest when people can read it in a simplified aesthetic table right there. So while I don't go in saying, like, we need this for this, and every 10 seconds we're doing a player highlight, and every 10 seconds we're switching the angle of me, I would never say that to Tony or Gut or anyone editing the videos. I would never do that myself. I just think that, like, as a human, you have a good idea of the way that you want to present information or the way that you want to present these things. So I don't want to put a template behind anything because it makes me think that people are going to just try to pull inspiration from other Mr. Beast type videos and feel like I need to do it this way. And it's like, no, do it your way, what you feel like is the best way to present the way that you're communicating because you're the fucking one communicating.
I just listened to a podcast called MoneyWise, which I really enjoy, and I thought what they did, which is not a video podcast, just the audio podcast, they referenced, it's a conversation about like how wealthy people spend their money. And they were talking about how this guy owns 3 homes, and it becomes a headache because his assistant is calling asking if he wants to redo the roof for $5,000 or whatever it may be. And in that, they then edited essentially a voiceover mimicking that conversation. It doesn't have to do with the camera change. Like, it was pretty much like, hey, Joan, do you want to put your... And instead of referencing it, they kind of created. And I thought that was such a unique...
Very creative, unique.
Exactly.
And I think most people don't do that stuff. They think of it, and then they don't do it because they're like, that's not normal. Like, people... Those are the best ideas. When you could think of something that is like innate to you and you're like, this would be a good idea, you're originally going to have a strong pullback because that's the society pullback of telling you not to do it because it's not normalized yet. But when you have those unique ideas, like when we used to do, or we still do, like when we do our live fantasy football drafts, right? Like the E-Town Get Down, the league that we used to do with all the high school people. Like when I started doing those vlogs, it was not normal, right? But we would like film our draft party, and then I was like, what if we did the confession cams like they did in the real world?
Exactly.
And I'm like, and people are like, what the fuck is going on? But I'm like, dude, I know this is such a good idea, and it'll catch on. And now I see a lot of vlogs of like fantasy football drafts doing the same thing. We started that, right? But that was weird at first, and I was like, this might be a little bit weird, but it felt right. So when it feels right, you're gonna feel pullback originally, but it won't feel right until it's normalized. Like nothing will feel right until it's normalized. That's just the way that human consciousness works, but it's a really good call out.
Yeah. To summarize Dylan's question, think about how many movies have been created in your life and how every director has a completely different style. So there is no answer. At the end of the day, it comes to the content. And I will say, if you're thinking about if there's a format to follow, hook. Focus on the hook. I will say, just because it's video content, I think people have lost the plot a little. Like headlines, titles, marketing, it all starts with a hook or a good campaign. Just because it's a video, that should not change. So think about what hooks you in and then go from there.
The hook, and I would say within the first 5 to 10 seconds, you should reconfirm with the audience that what they clicked on, what they thought they were clicking on, is what they're about to get as well. Coach Rip, it's a great fucking name. What's some advice I can give to a younger audience in building a brand, making content? Trends seem like they can be very hit or miss, and they have to balance a lot more with school, sports, etc. Dude, it must be such an interesting time to be in school. Like, I can't imagine what high school is like right now.
Could you imagine having like 1 million TikTok followers and being in high school? You would be the bee's knees.
What is like the
that
equivalent?
Would be so electric. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure. What's the equivalent of that when you're like when we were in high school? Yeah,
there wasn't. It was like
varsity captain of the basketball team.
But that was so. That's what.
Do people care if you're good at sports anymore?
No, like being a jock is so out.
Really?
So out.
Wow.
Yeah, like
I can't imagine that. That can't be true.
Bro. I mean, I think in like metropolitan areas.
Bro, could you imagine being in college and having like 1 million Instagram followers?
Yeah, life would be good.
Life is good. You know what I mean?
Life would be, that would be it. That's your peak.
Imagine like living in New York City and having 1 million Snapchat followers.
It's dog
It sucks.
It gives you absolutely nothing.
No, it's facts. What's some advice I can give to a younger audience building a brand, making content?
Why are they building a brand? Why are they making content?
Yeah, I mean,
that's first question.
It's going to be a scary next 10 years of all these little kids that just want to do something because they see the glamour and the fame, and especially at that, when you're that young.
We literally just glorified it to the max.
Yeah, you put us down a bad path there. But out of that is all the bad things that you shouldn't be really chasing in life.
Okay.
For the most part. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of girls or boys, whatever.
And you also don't really know, like the advice would be, if you want to be an accountant or a doctor, maybe you start making like medical content now. But when you're that young, I don't think you know. So genuinely, my advice would be tell them to pick something they love right now and just rep it forever, and they'll learn. And so then when they figure out what they actually want to do, then they'll come out of it with like, I know how to create content. I know the process for this. I know what toxicity.
I would also say like, yeah, getting as practical as possible. I think a lot of little kids are inspired by their favorite content creators. So I almost say maybe one thing you could do is say, pick something that you love. Topic could be video games, it could be sports, it could be whatever the fuck it is. And then, because I don't want to say like do something that's only completely unique, because most of these guys just want to be creators because they're just inspired by like 3 creators that they watch every single fucking day. So maybe challenge them to say like, hey, name your 3 favorite creators, make a video like your favorite creator, but make sure that you include 3 things that are really unique to just you, like just unique to your personality. So if you're like an MMG fan and you watch him play all his Madden or whatever the fuck he does, like make a video like him, the reason that you love following him, what are the things that you like, and then make sure by the end of that video you've included like 3 to 5 things that are some things that you would not see in an MMG video, that are only stuff that would come from you. And I think that will help them build their own personality a little bit, and they'll find like what works for them while also still staying inspired. Because it's easy to be our age and say like, do your own unique path, because we know ourselves a lot better than someone who's 14, 15, 16.
It's impossible.
So when you're that age, you don't know who the fuck you are, but you're easily inspired and you're easily swayed by people that you see on social media. So that would be a challenge, I'd say, for sure. Make sure you're only making content about things that you love and things that you know. Like, don't go down, if you're 15, don't start talking about like crypto. Don't start talking about things that you're not living,
the problem with trying to mimic MMG and then throwing unique, it's like when you're in high school, and he mentioned this, it's school, sports, class, all this stuff. First, I think that's bullshit, respectfully. You'll never be less busy than when you're 14. Like, you got no care in the world.
Have to balance a lot more with schools.
Yeah. So that's number 1. Number 2, it feels like a big hurdle. It's like, all right, well, I got to get a game capture. How do I edit this stuff? I would say, like, start making content amongst your friends. That seems to be the easiest way to do it, right? That's almost, to me, a little bit of probably where you started, which was like, you were capturing your fantasy group chat and conversation, and the characters and the tools are already there. So like, if you're at lunch and you love debating MJ LeBron, like, just film it and post it to TikTok, and it's gonna suck ass, But if you can at least get over the hurdle of being embarrassed by the content, then I would consider that a win for 4 years of making content at that.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to do it, like mentally to get it out there, is to do it with your friends, because then it's like, oh, other people are involved with me. So if I'm gonna get made fun of, so are they, kind of thing. Yeah. I also think there's the true creators will also want to do it themselves, and that will be a hurdle in itself as well. But yeah, those things are going to take a lot of time. You don't have to make it the high production quality of the MMGs or the Mr. Beasts or whatever. But if you try, you'll learn really quickly. Like you'll get, I mean, this is just basic, I think, human anatomy. Is like if you do something 5 times, right? You've never done something before. The first time you do it, it's going to take you very long. The second time you do it, you'll probably cut that time down by 70%, and then 12% the next time, and then 4% the next time. If you do something 5 times, you're probably 90% better at it than like 90% of the population.
Out, yeah.
Right. So that first time is going to be painful. It's going to take a really long time. But by the time you do a handful of things, like you're going to get 1,000 times better at it, because you understand the shortcuts. You understand like the really basic, don't do this kind of thing. And I think that's the same with content. So set a lofty goal for the content. Try to make it as good as you can. It's going to be fucking terrible. But after that, like you'll get infinitely better at it after the first 10 times you do it.
I have an idea. Case, are you free? Is the camera on someone else? Well, okay. Come here real quick.
It's my BC debut.
Yeah. It's not BC. Not it's Big C.
I didn't approve of this.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
This is likely getting cut.
This was likely getting cut.
This is the bloopers.
I think that fear-based content works for young kids more so than positivity. And what I mean by that is I want to use Casey as a good example here. Casey, from day one, we obviously grew up together.
I can't do this with him on the fucking couch.
Casey and I grew up together, and from day one, we knew he was the content creator. We always used to say, opening FIFA packs, playing FIFA, he was always the funniest one in the room. Always screaming, but always the funniest one in the room. Obviously, in life, no regrets, but would you say, or at least advice, so the question's from Coach Rip, what's some advice I could give to a younger audience in building a brand, making content? Trends seem like they can be very hit or miss. They have to balance a lot more with school sports. Would you say a regret of yours is that you just didn't make content when you were younger?
Without a doubt. I feel like I'd be speed if I started in middle school.
That's the other thing that I think he needs to tell the younger kids is, how do you make kids believe that it's going to take way longer than it is? Because I'd imagine if I was in middle school, I would be like, I'm going to have 1 million followers by next year and be pissed if I don't.
Right.
And it's like, you need to continue to show them people who have done it, that are successful, that it took me 10 years to be in this couch talking to 200 people that are going to watch this fucking video.
Well, I think I wanted to bring him up because he genuinely believes, and I believe it too, if he for a decade had created FIFA content, he would have millions of followers.
Sure.
And I think saying you'd be speed, you don't actually want to be speed.
No, not that speed.
But you were doing hilarious,
sketch.
like ridiculous.
I would literally be sketch.
But seriously, elaborate on this regret that I'm making you now feel regretful of, but also understand.
Well, I didn't fully understand what making content. I think the biggest barrier to entry is just how do you do this? I think you guys have talked about that before, and I watched FIFA YouTubers, but I just had no clue how to edit. I didn't have a camera. I didn't know how to record the game. I didn't know how to do microphones and audio and all that. So I think that's the biggest barrier to entry. But I think if someone...
That was, by the way, so much content on that nowadays.
Yeah.
Like back then it was impossible to figure out how to stream a video.
Doesn't Jinxie use some $50 webcam?
My point exactly, going back to the editing stuff. It's you don't need to do anything special with editing if you're good enough at anything.
Yeah, and but I think I was already having so much fun doing it, and I was making content for myself without having a camera on, that if someone had just helped me set it up, I don't think I would have been...
Is that a dig?
No, I don't think...
That's a dig at himself. Figure it out.
Yeah. No, I don't think I would have... I don't think I would have been upset about not getting viewership because I was doing it anyways, but it obviously comes with another layer of effort to where you do want to see that eventually pay off if I'm gonna record it, gonna edit it, post it, and do all that.
So looking back now, it sounds dumb being I just didn't know how to do it. Just Google it and figure it out.
Right.
What do you feel like you were just lazy? Was that really it?
No, I didn't really like understand fully like what content was. I never thought about ever doing it.
Okay.
I just thought, looking back now and where I'm at in my job and seeing creators and the creator ecosystem, and when I was watching FIFA YouTubers, I just came to the realization, like, fuck, if I was doing this since middle school, I really think I could have been a successful FIFA YouTuber.
And I think to pivot to not the kids, to the older audience, you did get started. And if you keep this long-term vision, there's still so much time. Because I do think that the other side of the coin is there too. It's like, well, if only I had started 10 years ago. So start now and keep a long-term vision. And
I mean, these kids are, you said, in high school, right?
No, I'm saying I think there's a segment of the audience who aren't kids who are looking at it like, well, now I'm 38. Like,
realistically, having lived in all three phases at this point, high school, college, and the workplace, you can literally start. If you actually want to do it, there's so much fucking time to do everything.
We said.
Like, high school, you literally have endless time. College.
The question was, they have to balance a lot more with school and sports, etc. So
the balance is you go to school, virtually do nothing.
Yeah.
You go to practice for an hour. You're done your day by 5:30. Mommy cooks you dinner, and then what are you doing from 6 to 10?
Yeah, you have like literally weekends are complete.
Right, play.
Right, they're staying up to.
If you want to pretend to do homework, you can rip it for the next 6
I can
hours.
recite every line from The Office because I was doing nothing else from 6 to 12 every single
You'll never have more time than now. We know that.
Come on,
Is he a
come on, Coach Rip.
non-frontward facing like camera sound? Like he that's a big dub
Yeah.
for
What? Oh, me.
Yeah.
You're just the voice from above.
Anything else you need for my?
You're about to be a non.
No, I
member.
wanted to answer this question with obviously our advice to young kids from people who have done it, but also I think hitting it from the regret angle is a good one.
Yeah, I just don't. If you're young, don't make content unless you want to make content. I'm sure it's very easy to get lost in the content. Probably seems almost like a floor. Like if you're in high school, it's like you need to make some sort of content just for the sake of being culturally relevant.
It's very different than when we're different gens, obviously. But
Yeah.
from when you were growing up to even like people still when I was in high school weren't really making content.
Right, and I can only, that was like the first thing I said, is like, I can only imagine what fucking high school is like right now, dude. Like I wouldn't.
It's just different groups of people making TikTok.
Right. It's like the hallways must just look like dance parties all the time. Yeah, TikTok
Teacher
is out of control.
content is a thing.
Yeah, just going around calling teachers their first names.
If we're big content and we're actually legit, we should go do like but like a video on what it's actually like at high school now.
Like a documentary.
Yeah. Like going back to high school.
PS 118 about to get a visit from the
It's literally
boys.
just like kids vaping in the bathroom and then making TikToks.
Literally, that's all it is.
I love
My
watching the
sister's a high
TikToks.
school teacher. It's just kids vaping in the bathroom.
I love watching TikToks of like teachers, and they talk about like the things that their students say to them and just like call them, and it's just like so outrageous, dude.
Yeah, skibbity Riz.
Yeah. Skibbity
All
Riz.
right, let's get Casey on.
Yeah,
the
get
guy.
it.
Bye, buddy.
Hit the subscribe button.
Or you'll regret it.
We promise never to have Casey on again.
right over here if you need.
Okay. Question number D. Josiah Debois. What does quality control look like for a platform of your size? I.e., if a trivia comes out subpar, you're more likely to reduce the number of uploads in a week to maintain quality or publish it anyway. That's a great question. One that we're not asked very often.
That's a great question.
Yeah, really good question. Quality control. I've never heard of that before. Not in this fucking
We don't
office.
have HR, so.
No, really, really good question. It's something that we have had conversations about internally often as views and engagement fluctuate depending on what we're doing and having to try to like get some renewed energy into the content that we're doing. We have swapped quality for quantity more times than I can probably count at this point. If trivia comes out subpar, you're more likely to reduce the number of uploads in a week to maintain quality or publish it anyway. I'm usually of the belief that I never like having content go to waste. If we make it, we spend our energy, we edit it, we do it, then I want it to go up because you never really know who it's going to entertain. You never really know who it might help out there. So you being the one-of-one judge of whether or not it's good content is typically bad process. Obviously, if it's something that's just like shit and the energy was terrible and you're like, I don't want that to represent my brand, then no, don't put it out. We are definitely more likely to reduce content, reduce quantity if we feel like it will help the quantity and if it will help the energy back into the content. Like, for example, trivia. We were doing insane amounts of trivia for like the last year or so, and we have completely pulled back on the quantity. Like, we used to do 2 to 3 individual trivias every single day, 7 days a week. At this point, I think we might have 1 go up per day, 5 days a week. I don't even know. Like, that's how hands-off I am, honestly, on the trivia stuff at this point. And JMO is usually the one that will come to me with quality control issues. But we're trying to find the balance of what makes us have the most fun when we're actually filming the content. Obviously, you don't want to put yourself in a position where if everything in our business revolved around making sure that we have a very high volume of trivia content going out, and that is how we're sustaining this, that is how we keep people on the payroll full time, that is how people get paid and we have the rent coming in, then we have a different problem. But you don't want to put yourself in a position where that leverage hangs over you to the point where you have to force yourself to make content that you no longer want to do it. So we would rather scale back and find a way to make sure that the content is high quality than to just publish shit at a high volume anyways.
I think of this as it applies to Snapback on Instagram right now. It's a very common strategy to just post a lot of content. And so what's the balance of that versus not? And we'll put up a post sometimes, it gets like 22 likes. And then we'll put up a post that gets like 70,000. So is that a question of reducing quantity for quality? I go back and forth on this.
Would you say, okay, so quality, I think we can both agree, like quality, one person can't really decide quality, but maybe we could rephrase quality to purposeful. Like, is the content purposeful to your business to
Here's
post?
a good question. We were at NASCAR, and the NASCAR was running around Chicago. The NASCAR's the GOAT. And I took a couple pictures of the NASCAR in front of like some marketing materials for Chicago NASCAR, and we posted it to Instagram. We got 22 likes. Should we not have posted that? Does it matter?
I'm sorry. I got a text from JMO. So some guy who works for the Tampa Bay Rays hit us up and was like, yo, we got a series in New York next week. Some of the guys like love NFL trivia stuff. We can get them into the office if you want. Yeah, so JMO just sent a picture. The guy sent a picture of us, one of the Rays players playing our trivia product on the website, just in the clubhouse. Yeah.
Who is it?
I have no fucking idea. He's got long hair.
I was going to say, is it Wander?
Yeah, that's JMO's favorite player. I don't know if you could tell who that is.
I can't even see from here.
Sure. Sorry, so I got that, which took my focus off of whatever bullshit you were yapping about.
No, I was
rephrase
saying
the questy.
The NASCAR was walking around Chicago, so I took some pictures and just posted like the NASCAR's in Chicago, and it got like 22 likes on Instagram. Should we not post that?
That feels purposeful in the sense that like that might be fulfilling to you.
That's what I mean. You guys post the vlogs on the trivia channel.
Yeah.
It gets less views. Should you not post that?
No, I love posting those.
Right.
And most of like the content on our like brand Twitter is literally just like the purpose of it is to promote our personality and promote our company from like a personal standpoint. So like engagement is what it is, but I think it's like because we want to. And that's another like purposeful does not always need to tie directly to revenue or numbers or whatever. Purposeful can be whatever you choose to make purposeful. Yeah. So forcing bad quality content, I think, is a route that I'd rather not go down, obviously. But that
the other thing I would say is we don't just post to post. Like that is messaging that I'll ingrain in the team is like, don't just post to make me think that you're doing your job. But there is always good content to do. And a talk I had with the team was let's do more storytelling and more high research content. So instead of here's an example, like hot dog eating contest. When we did our brainstorm, we didn't want to just do, Joey Chestnut's out or blah, blah, blah. We did research on all the contestants you might not know about, and we posted something there. And so that to me is more high quality versus just, reacting to the fact that Joey Chestnut was out. Another one, you could post Bronny James all day long right now and get billions of likes. I spent like an hour and a half creating graphics for Giannis's workout from wake up, or his game day routine from 6 a.m. wake up till he gets home and puts his kids to bed. Probably took me like an hour and a half, and it ended up getting like 10,000 likes and a bunch of shares because it was high quality, interesting content. I could have easily posted 5 different things in that hour and a half, and I don't know what the viewership would have been on them, but I know I didn't need to spend that much time to just produce one piece of content. So I would say quality over quantity would be my pick if I had to.
Yeah, for sure. And just to like reiterate what I said, like quality can be versatile in the sense that quality could be you've done a lot of work, informative, valuable to people. Quality could also be like an internal sense of quality as well. So I wouldn't put like hard boundaries on that.
TV show or movie?
What?
TV show or movie? Quality versus quantity. Like no one bats an eye if you spend $100 million and 2 years filming a 2-hour piece of content. So go do that on YouTube.
I thought that was the next question. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Josh Seagal, what was your review process after a year of putting out content that isn't strictly looking at view and follower numbers? What was your review process after a year?
So I would go number 1 would be comment section. Are people actually enjoying the content? How are they reacting to it?
Because if there are people that are down low in the comments and are like, dude, I love this, I need more of this, there are other people out there that feel that way, and it's just a matter of time and consistency and posting more. So if the general trend and feeling is that the content itself is quality and there are people out there enjoying it and you're getting that feedback often, then it becomes just like a packaging and distribution conversation to have with yourself about getting better at thumbnails, about getting better at posting, about getting better at being an organic marketer.
Yeah, I said number 1 as if there was a number 2, but that's really it. I just listen and react.
Yeah. What was your review process after a year of putting out content? Yeah, I would definitely
like if you guys don't, and I think one thing you could strategically do is don't post a piece of content in the schedule for a week and see if you get anything commenting like
people being like, where you been?
Yeah,
kind of thing.
like, oh my God, like when are you posting this? That could be a good metric. Like if you guys didn't post trivia for a week, and you only posted fantasy football rankings on TikTok, I'm sure that would be the comment.
You think that would be good?
If you didn't post trivia for a week?
Yeah,
that'd be fine.
I don't see a problem.
Agent Dub 14, letter F. For TikTok, have you noticed any metrics matter more than others when it comes to performance? On my page, I have noticed average watch time matters way more than like shares and percent watched. I mean, I think you know the answer here.
Yeah, and
he has the answer.
We should actually parlay this into the thumbnail testing on YouTube as well, because YouTube released its thumbnail testing feature now for everybody. So when you upload a video, you can throw in up to 3 thumbnails, and it will run a 2-week test, and it will only show you results of average watch time on the video, and it'll select the winner based on average watch time, which I hate that they don't give you the click-through rate also.
Got it.
Because if they, let's say you put 3 up, average watch time on one of them is 9 minutes 50 seconds, one's 9 minutes and 27 seconds, you're going to choose the 951, but what if the CTR on the 927 one is like
way higher,
is like 30% higher? That's some fucking information that
They don't have that yet?
They're not releasing that. Their whole point was like, we want that to match what the audience is expecting when they come to it. So I have a problem with that being awful, the only metric.
Especially because when we're testing thumbnails, that feels like very reactionary to like clickbait YouTube.
What they're trying to do is
eliminate
it.
And what I'm saying is like, we're not clickbaiting.
Right.
We're just trying to see which one he is clickbaiting, but we're just trying to see which one gets people in.
Yeah, no,
I didn't realize that.
So the reason I bring that up is because YouTube is explicitly saying that their only metric that really matters is watch time, and they're fucking smart people over there. TikTok's smart people over there, so they are also piggybacking off of that. So watch time is the most important metric for sure. What that means in terms of like practical advice, it's like, yeah, we want to make videos where people watch more, but it's like, what the fuck does that mean? That's just like a buzzword or a buzz phrase. It's like making better content, making more valuable content, teaching people, keeping people hooked. Like, yeah, the answer to your question is more watch time. I don't know like what else to dive in on there.
Yeah, I don't know if I could suggest just like making longer videos so that you have a higher watch time, but
that's fair, I guess. But I will say like,
no, I'm saying I don't think that's a good suggestion.
yeah, because
you don't want to just feel. It's like when you had to hit a word.
Do you think it's
count
watch
on an
time
essay.
versus percentage of your video watched?
I think so. On YouTube it is. He makes it seem like it's not, but I do think it's that combination. I genuinely just think an algorithm it's a summation of all those things. If you have a long watch time, that means the content was good and you're going to get a bunch of likes, which are going to lead to a bunch of people following, and the algorithm is going to read that. Like YouTube has just opened my eyes. Everything works in unison. There is now, I guess the question is, what would the CTA be for us in our YouTube video? And what I mean by that is like, if our click-through rate is high and our average watch time is high and the percentage watch of the video is high and the comments are plentiful and the likes are plentiful, it's like, of course, that represents a good video. But if I were to ask early on in the video, what would trigger the best results? And what I mean by that is like our last video, which is going to become our second most viewed video, it doesn't have more likes than maybe the video before, but it might have more comments, but it might have, so maybe there is something that correlates to what you should be asking for, like on these platforms, but I don't know what the answer is.
For TikTok, I also think with watch time, we were talking about this in the office the other day because someone brought up like, how do you get more people following you on TikTok? Mm-hmm. I like our TikTok. I don't know that we've ever once, and this is not like consciously or not, I don't know that we've ever once put in a video like follow us for more. Like I don't think we've ever.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake.
I don't think we've ever put a CTA in any of ours, but we have over a billion fucking people on TikTok that follow our account. I never follow people.
I think that's a mistake.
I think it's a mistake too.
Like
my point being is like the likes and the shares and that kind of stuff are good, but the watch time is eventually what leads people back. When they watch it, they're not like following you. They're just kind of in the TikTokification of social media. I almost like watch a creator knowing that in a day, 2 days, I'm just gonna see them again on my page.
But if you got them to follow, they do show you people you follow more.
Yeah, most likely.
Why it's worth getting people to follow.
Maybe, yeah. But I think if you watch them, you're going to end up seeing them again, and then you have to ask yourself, what does this eventually lead to? Like, if I'm getting them to watch my videos, or if I'm getting them to follow, or if I'm getting them to like or whatever, at the end of the day, I need some kind of goal behind it. Like, what is the purpose of what I'm actually doing?
The follow is valuable in social platforms because when it comes to plugging or marketing, your ceiling is lower and it goes out to your base of subscribers or followers or whomever it is. And so that is where it becomes valuable. Plug away, use your ad space, which is your content.
Plug us.
But you got to give them a reason to plug or to follow. Like you have a good reason for people to follow you on Trivia. It's entertaining and people want to see the next
one. Why
one.
over 1 billion people follow us.
No, it's impressive.
1 out of every 7 people worldwide.
Our plug.
Unbelievable.
Like right now with our plug, we could plug, give us a like, if we thought that was going to boost.
Now, we wouldn't do that. Like, we wouldn't tell you to like, share, subscribe, send it to a friend, send it to a family member, an enemy, anything like that. No. We wouldn't do it, but...
We just cut the video black right here.
Right. Yeah, that's what you should do. No, but our plug, we've kind of decided is send it to a friend. We think that is what... If you found this valuable, send it to someone that you think would find it valuable, and one by one, we'll get to 1 billion on Big C, the same way Nick
Big
got
Cahoonsteins?
1 billion on TikTok.
All right.
That's my goal, to be over 1 billion on every platform.
Soon.